you know that a protein-rich diet is important for building strong bones and muscles? But what about helping you live longer? Here's what the science says about plant protein and longevity. Researchers are constantly hunting for the holy grail of lifestyles, one that prevents cancer, wards off heart attacks, and helps you live longer. Studies have long suggested that eating whole foods and exercising regularly facilitate healthy aging. There is no perfect diet prescription or one-size-fits-all approach to health and longevity. However, there are beneficial foods that help the body fend off disease states and enable a longer, healthier life, says Vicky Shanta-Ritelny, RDN, culinary consultant, speaker, and author of Total Body Diet for Dummies. A balanced diet that includes all macronutrients, carbs, proteins, and fats is important for optimal health and cardiovascular function, adds Michelle Rothenstein, RD, a preventive cardiology dietitian in New York City. So what does a healthy balance of macronutrients look like? Research published in 2020 in the medical journal BMJ found that eating more protein, particularly plant protein, could add years to your life, linking protein and long life. In some ways, the link between protein and longevity is nothing new. Heart disease and cancer are the leading causes of death in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. Yet previous research has indicated that eating more plant protein could lower your risk for both. By eating foods that boost your heart health and your body's ability to fight off cancer, you increase your odds of living a long, healthy life. These findings have important public health implications, as intake of plant protein can be increased relatively easily by replacing animal protein and could have a large effect on longevity, report the authors of the BNG study. Choosing the best protein. The authors, a group of American and Iranian researchers, set out to determine which sources of protein are most likely to help you live longer. Rather than gathering participants for a new study, they analyzed and compared results from 32 completed studies. That research, which took place over 32 years and included 715,128 men and women over age 18, all investigated how protein intake affects mortality rates. The results were clear. Eat more plant protein to live a longer, healthier life. Eating plant protein may lower your risk of a heart attack. Researchers found that people who had the highest intake of protein had a 6% lower risk of mortality during the study period compared with those with the lowest intake. Plant protein seemed to have an additional benefit and was linked to an 8% lower risk of mortality overall and a 12% lower risk of cardiovascular death during the study. Rothenstein says this is because plant proteins are filled with many nutrients that help optimize blood vessel health. Protein-rich foods include meat, eggs, fish, and milk, and plant-based proteins include nuts, beans, tofu, and other foods. Plant protein is linked to longevity. According to the research review, bumping up your daily plant protein intake by just 3% may lower your early mortality risk by 5%. Let's say, for example, that you consume about 2,500 calories a day. To get the benefits of plant protein, you could swap 75 calories of a different type of food, a slice of bread, a small apple, or a stick of string cheese for nuts or beans. 3 tips to eat more plant protein. Whether you want to swap some of your favorite animal proteins for plant proteins or simply add more variety to your diet, it's easy to incorporate heart-healthy nuts or beans into your day. Some healthy nut choices include walnuts, almonds, and pistachios. There are so many colorful and tasty beans to try, including black, pinto, white, and garbanzo. Try meatless Mondays. While eating more protein can help you live longer, eating too much red meat and other animal proteins could backfire by increasing your risk of weight gain and potentially cancer and disease. Having meatless meals can be healthier and just as enjoyable. In general, protein needs vary based on individual needs. However, replacing animal proteins with high-quality plant proteins and making at least one day a week meatless is a good idea from a health standpoint, says Shanta-Ritelny. This is not to say you have to banish animal proteins altogether. Cutting back on red and processed meats and adding more plant proteins into your weekly meal plans can offer a synergy of plant-based nutrients that can benefit your overall health. Try these nutritionist-approved vegan protein bars too. If you are considering a completely plant-based diet, here are 6 ways to go vegetarian. Veg curious, but not sure if you're ready to totally swear off meat? Registered dietitian Rachel Meltzer Warren offers 6 simple options based on your personality in her new book, The Smart Girl's Guide to Going Vegetarian. Meatless Mondays. While the concept of Meatless Mondays has been getting a lot of attention in the last few years, the advertising campaign has actually been around since World War I, when the government used it to encourage people to eat less meat to save money and conserve resources for soldiers. The idea is easy. Start each week with one meat-free day. According to the people who run Meatless Monday, giving up meat even just once a week can have many of the same benefits to your health and environment as giving up meat altogether can. The red head. Giving up red meat appeals to many because it's a heck of a lot easier than giving up meat completely. While it sometimes may be hard to find a vegetarian option on a menu or on a buffet table at a party, you can almost always find something that has chicken, turkey, or fish in it. Rejecting red meat can also be a pretty healthy move, since it tends to be high and bad for your heart-saturated fat. But since you're still eating some meat, you're likely getting plenty of protein and nutrients that some vegetarians may have trouble getting enough of. The flexitarian. You know you want to eat less meat, but you don't want to be tied down by specific limitations about days of the week or types of food you eat. This is basically a vegetarian who eats meat occasionally. How often is occasionally? Well, there's no official limit. Some eat meat once or twice a week. The vegception. You want to go vegetarian, but there's 1 or 2 meat-containing foods you can't imagine giving up. Sure, some people may look at you funny if you say you're a vegetarian and then eat a bowl of mom's chicken noodle soup at holiday meals. But that doesn't mean you should throw in the towel and eat meat year-round. The way in which you eat is something that is always evolving. Giving up meat with one vegception may help you transition to an eventual meat-free diet, if that's your goal. The ethical carnivore. Eating meat doesn't bother you, but you want the animals you consume to have lived healthy lives, or you want to eat in a way that's good for the environment. What it means to be an ethical carnivore is a personal choice, but there are a number of criteria that people who follow such guidelines tend to look for. These include eating meat or animal products that are labeled organic/certified organic, free-range/free roaming, cage-free, grass-fed, no hormones administered, no antibiotics added, certified humane, certified naturally grown, or animal welfare approved. The cold tofurkey. It hit you like a ton of bricks that you just don't want to eat meat anymore. Quite a few vegetarians I interviewed had an aha moment that made them never, ever want to eat meat again. For example, watching a movie like Food, Incorporated or Forks Over Knives. Enjoy a variety of plant protein sources. Depending on your personal and family history, Ruthenstein recommended at least 5 to 7 servings of plant protein a week to truly reduce your risk of heart attacks and other causes of premature death. It's easy to assume that plant protein is simply nuts or tofu. But if you're going to be eating about 1 serving of plant protein per day, why not take this as an opportunity to try a variety of delicious new foods? Shanta Ritelny says, beans, peas, lentils, quinoa, tofu, tempeh, and seitan, as well as nuts and nut butters, contain protein and fiber, and some contain heart-healthy fats, which are good for overall health. Try this high-protein vegan stir-fry recipe that's easy and delicious. Change your diet slowly. Rome wasn't built in a day, and changing your eating habits takes time too. It is important to note that some plant proteins may cause GI distress if it is not a routine part of your diet, says Ruthenstein. She recommends adding plant proteins gradually for optimal implementation. She adds, I would focus more on beans, tofu, legumes, and nuts versus the bread, cereals, and pastas listed if insulin resistance or diabetes may be a risk factor for you. A well-balanced diet is still key. Shanta Ritelny and Ruthenstein both caution against creating a diet built around one food group, even if it's heart-healthy plant protein. Shanta Ritelny says, we are tipping the scientific iceberg when it comes to understanding the benefits of plants for overall health and longevity. She also points out that though this study suggests plant protein is a key to longer life, other studies have revealed that regular fish eaters have a lower risk of death by all causes than those who do not eat fish as often. In other words, more research is necessary to find a perfectly balanced diet for long life. Rothenstein adds, it is important to ensure that you are not only focusing on the foods to avoid, but rather the foods you need to include. So enjoy a heaping helping of nuts, tofu, or beans, but don't leave behind fruits, vegetables, and other healthy plant-based foods. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.